Welcome to the Strength Connection podcast, a show to share stories, insights, and experiences in strength, physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'm Michael Kurkowski, host of the Strength Connection, and I'm so grateful that you can join me today. So in these episodes, I connect with some of the most inspiring and successful individuals to chop it up and learn from true life experiences that have helped them become who they are, the strongest versions of themselves. One of the greatest ways I've always learned the most important lessons is through stories. We all have them, and they make us who we are. So let's dive in. Here we go. What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining me. Welcome to the Strength Connection. So it's me and you today. This is a solo episode. Wanted to dive into a specific lesson that popped up with me last week working with a client, and I thought it might really resonate with you because I think we've all been in this stage before. I wanted to record this last week. Unfortunately, caught one of those nasty viruses that are popping up and completely lost my voice last week. So talked a lot about how to get back off of rough weeks this morning of going in, of veering back into the lane. And I was going to chat about that a bit, but this conversation I had last week with a client, I wanted to dive right in and speak with you on. As I said, I think we've all been in this boat, either at a beginning stage of just getting started with something, or even just well along the journey. You know, maybe you've had a lot of success and you're going to the next goal and the next goal, but just developing this system of what I call analyze without criticize. I think it's a powerful message that we can all learn. So what came to my mind, the lesson that I learned from this is you're often in a better position than you think. It's more often just cloudy. Okay. So what I mean by that is, and I think it's a little bit different take than a lot of people might bring up, specifically going into health and fitness. You know, you could have a lot of ailments that are that you're going through, but often when you actually look at it with a microscope and see where your body's moving, kind of where your biomarkers are, a lot of times there's a lot of good things that are going on, maybe with some of the negative things that you need to work on. But when you actually get clear on them and you get just a careful assessment, it provides a lot of clarity, and that clarity creates a lot of peace. So to bring some context into this is I had a client that I just started working with recently, a great woman, really has some specific goals in mind. But after the first conversation, the best way that I can bring it, she was just lost, you know, had a lot of things that she wanted to do, but felt like this was wrong and this was off and this is what I tried to do before. And it was going on and on about stuff. And it's just everything just gets so confusing about what direction do I need to take? I'm not sure what I need to do here. What's going on here? I mean, all those different things going on. So it's like all these things get clouded in our own mind of where we think we need to be, because in reality, we really don't know where we are at the specific moment. So after doing some assessment, actually breaking down some of the things that she was doing with lifestyle, about getting into movement quality, she actually moved a lot better than she was giving herself credit for. Overall, just doing a quick like FMS screen, she moves very well. Her strength and stability is actually in a pretty decent line. So she was a lot better off than she was giving herself credit for. And after just going through a short assessment and just breaking down some biomarkers on this, you can see her body language completely shifting. There was a calmness about it. The shoulders started to drop. She was breathing easier from there. And what it did is just gave a little bit more peace of mind. What I realized from this is how often we go into new ventures or things we want to do, and everything is unknown. And the unknown is a scary thing that happens. And then anxiety and just natural monkey mind starts popping up, and we start throwing out all these different scenarios that are all imaginary. They haven't really happened in place, but they feel real in our mind. And it can be so overwhelming that by actually just stepping back and just taking assessment of where you are on the GPS, and then seeing, okay, this is where I want to go, and then start creating a plan of how to bridge that gap in between. That's something that creates such a peace and such a confidence that we can have. And if you're approaching your goals with confidence that you know where you are and you have a plan of where you want to head, that's the way of building consistency, okay? Because you know that your actions are aligning with your visions, okay? And I saw from this of just going through is I talked about this with Sam Miller recently on the podcast with Proteus Motion. If you didn't listen to that episode, Sam created the system Proteus Motion, which I first found from watching the Netflix documentary Quarterback. If you've seen that, Patrick Mahomes was using this really interesting looking piece of equipment, kind of like rotating through, using some resistance training, excuse me, with his coach Bobby Stroop. And it got a really big bump in production and sales. We talked about that a lot, but I realized afterwards, like this is something he's been working on for over a decade of building up. And often just like that, like it's, an overnight success usually takes 10 years in the silence. And that's where Sam was with this. So the documentary and a lot of exposure there definitely propped up that business, and they're soaring. They're becoming one of the greatest assessment tools on the planet right now. But when I asked him about all the data that Proteus gives you, he said that was one of the main things that we wanted to do, go into how as we age, we lose muscle mass, we lose a lot of those things that we know about, but we'll also lose a lot of our power, especially our rotational power. And this was something that he wanted to put together so he could give people accurate data and accurate information of where they are at the moment so they can make educated decisions going forward of where they want to go with the goal. And I thought that was so powerful. It's because so quickly I've seen people for years have a goal and just immediately start taking action because they just want to get out of the state that they are at the moment. And any movement at that time feels like progress. But if it's not aligned with actually the plan and the goal of where you are, then that's a short-lived success. And eventually we all know that, where we start to slip back and we demoralize and everybody goes back into their old habits. So I've always been the best I've been and the most successful that I've been is at times when I analyze where I am without self-criticizing myself. I'm not looking at myself through judgmental glasses. Okay. I'm looking at it just being like, okay, what's going really well? What's not going really well? Okay. All right. Let's accentuate the strengths. Let's keep working on these. And where can we make adjustments on the things that I'm weak at? And the more and more I practice that, and the more I can look at that without an emotional connection to it, the better plans that I've been able to work with my coaches, with myself, just everything that I'm doing, just that short, quick, analysis of, okay, this is where I'm at, and then I can make steps going forward. And what I've done is that if it does nothing else, is it gives you a sense of peace. And I think if you're going into things with a sense of peace and a sense of calm, and then you're creating actions that are aligned with that vision, then you are going to get where you want to be. So after having this conversation, then just going forward now, this went from a very anxious, very lost woman into now just taking step-by-step approaches. And who knows, got a long way to go with her, and we're going to do a lot of work going down the line. But just that immediate sense and just seeing that body language that I could see of that drop down, I just realized, okay, this is someone who just was fearing the unknown for a long time. And just giving that sense of clarity is one of the best things that you can do for yourself or working with a coach from there. Okay. And then I saw this from there after going over this. I actually saw this stat. There's a psychological study that when we talk about fear and what that is, they actually found is 85% of the things that we fear happening never actually happen. They always stay within our mind and it's not reality. So the more that you can work on this process, the more you start to break down all those things that you're fearing and then realize that, okay, I can take a step forward. And I thought that was so powerful. I wanted to share that. This is one of the reasons why in the Unveiling Strength seminar that I did, I created the 90-day vision journal. Is just creating just intentions each day and then just reflections at the end of the day, just asking some very just self-analysis questions. And if you do that and you work on that step by step, a little bit at a time, then you start to get better at it. It's a skill just like anything that you do. And that's why I've worked with it. That's why I've given it to people to work with, because that clarity is such a sense of power. Okay. So that's the message I want to send with you. So if you didn't listen to that one with Sam Miller, please, I encourage you to go back and listen to Proteus Motion with him. That was an awesome time to have. I hope to have him back on the podcast. And with that message there is, I'll just reiterate that you're often better off than you think. It's just cloudy at the moment. Okay. So I'll leave it on that for you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Got some really exciting guests that are going to be coming up soon. So hopefully you tune in and listen. And as always, thank you so much for your support and listening to me. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right. Peace. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found some great value here. And if you like this episode, please drop a comment and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It does more to build the show than you can imagine. And do not forget to check out and join the Strength Connection Facebook group. In this group, I share the biggest takeaways and lessons from these amazing conversations, as well as training and strength tips for pursuing mastery and fulfillment in life. This group is filled with individuals looking to take full control over their strength, and it's the perfect space to explore new ideas and to share your journey. And you'll also get exclusive access to these Strength Connection Mastery Seminars. It's a deep dive into the physical, mental, and spiritual training that you can begin using immediately. So do not wait. Go now. Seriously, go. All right, much love to you. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.